Hello wine people, in this video I will be talking about winemaking options. There's going to be a different video about winemaking processes. The decisions that a winemaker makes in a winery will ultimately result on the style of wine on the end. On the end of the video I will answer 10 WSET Level 2 exam questions. So if you're preparing for your WSET exam or just want to learn a little bit about wine, or you want to change the world of wine with us, this channel is for you, and please consider subscribing if this video is something that you're interested in. So let's go. So what we will be talking about in this video is adjustments, fermentation temperatures, winery vessels, oak alternatives, MLF, lees, blending, and bottle maturation. Adjustments. So sometimes the grapes will not be perfectly balanced, or they will not have the level of sugar or acid that the winemaker wants for his wines. And in that case, he can do some adjustments. Adjustments are usually done in cases where you have too much sugar or not enough sugar, or you have too much acid or you don't have enough acid in the wine. And depending on the climate will ultimately create grapes that have different levels of sugar and acid. Warmer climate produces grapes that have more sugar and lower acid. Cooler climate grapes produce grapes that have higher acid and lower sugar levels. So adjustments that the winemaker can do in the winery is to adjust the level of sugar, potential alcohol in the wine, and the level of acidity in the wine. So two processes that you need to know that can be used in a winery is chaptalization, which is the addition of sugar in the grapes, which will increase the level of potential alcohol in the final wine, and acidification, which means that tartaric acid can be added to the grapes in order to increase acidity. Also, if grapes have high acidity, winemakers can reduce the level of acidity. It's called deacidification process. Okay, so chaptalization and acidification or deacidification. Fermentation temperatures. Based on the grapes that you're using, for red and white grapes, ideal temperature for red grapes is between 20 and 30 Celsius, and you can see also how it looks like in Fahrenheit. And ideal temperature range for white grapes is 12 to 22. The slightly higher temperatures for red wine is beneficial for red wines because the main thing with red wine making is to extract color and tannin, and these higher temperatures help with that. Regarding the white wines, also the temperature for rosé wines is similar or same as for white wines. This lower temperature, fermentation temperature for white wines, helps to create fruity flavors that are so beneficial in white wines. Winery vessels. Basically, there's two types of winery vessels: inert vessels and vessels that are airtight, and then vessels that are not inert, meaning that they contribute additional flavor to the grapes, to the wine. Stainless steel is an inert vessel. It is also an airtight vessel. It means that it doesn't add any flavor to the wine. It doesn't allow any contact with oxygen. Inert vessels can be used, stainless steel vessels can be used for wine fermentation, and they can also be used for wine storage. On the other hand, oak can also be used for wine fermentation. It can also be used for wine aging. There's two main reasons why you're going to use oak. You're using oak because you want to add additional flavor to the wine, and the second reason is you want to allow wine to get in control, to be in contact with oxygen in a controlled way, so the wine can additionally develop tertiary flavors. Also, this contact with oxygen allows especially red wines to soften their tannin. Regarding the flavors that oak gives to the wine, depends on several reasons. So it depends on what is the size of the oak, it depends on the type of the oak, it depends on how new is the oak, and also depends on how the oak barrel was made. So usually when the oak barrels are made, because they're so strong, hard, they need to be bent, and in order to bend them you need to use heat, usually fire, and the level of fire that you use determines the toast level that the barrels have. So more toast means that the barrel will produce more toasty burn aromas. Less toast will mean that the barrel will impart more subtle vanilla and coconut flavors. Size of the barrel also depends on how much of this flavor will be transferred to the wine. Smaller barrels give more flavor. The reason is because there's much bigger surface of oak that is in contact with the wine. Also, when the barrels are brand new, they impact the most flavors. After second, third year of using, this flavor impact diminishes. When you're using a larger oak barrels, of course the impact is not as strong as if you would use a small barrique barrel. Oak barrels are watertight, but they are not airtight, so they allow control oxygen contact with the wine, which allows wine to develop these tertiary flavors that makes the wine create this more oxidative tertiary style of dried fruit aromas. Also, contact with oxygen smooths down and softens the tannins in red wines. Oak alternatives are a cheaper way for cheaper wines to get these oak flavors. So there's many options for this. You can use dust, chips, oak staves that can basically just be added to the inert vessels, and they will give a flavor of oak to the wine. Malolactic conversion, before it was called malolactic fermentation. Why it's not called a fermentation anymore? It is because that for fermentation you use yeast. For malolactic conversion you use malolactic bacteria. Malolactic conversion happens after the fermentation is finished, and all red wines go through malolactic conversion. It is an option for white wines if you're going to use it or not. So what happens with malolactic conversion is that this high, strong malic, very tart acid changes to a softer lactic acid. For red wine, this malolactic conversion impacts flavor. It impacts buttery, yogurty flavors that usually are not, they cannot be noticed in a red wine. For white wines, malolactic conversion is an option. So this malolactic conversion, like I said, will impact flavor, buttery, creamy, yogurty flavors, and it will lower the acidity. So this is a choice if a winemaker wants this kind of flavors and acidity to be changed in a wine. Usually grapes like Riesling, for example, that have very specific Riesling aromas that are very attractive, and also this refreshing acidity, winemakers choose not to use a malolactic conversion. But for example, on the other hand, a grape variety like Chardonnay, in many cases, uses malolactic conversion. Lees aging. Lees aging, after the wine finishes the fermentation, dead yeast cells fall on the bottom of the vessel and creates this dust. So this fine lees, the winemaker can use to impact flavor and additional texture in the wine, and it's usually used for white wines. So here on the picture you can see actually how this fine lees looks in a barrel, and also how it looks in the bottle. This lees, this fine lees creates leesy, biscuity, bready kind of aromas that are very specific, for example, in champagne styles. Blending options. So blending can be done in several stages of the winemaking process. When we say blending, people usually connect blending with grape varieties, but blending options, there's many. It's not only grape variety, it is different grape varieties, yes, but it can be different locations and vineyards where the grapes is coming from. It can also be different winemaking techniques that are used for different wines. It can also be used blending between different wines that are aged in a different way, in a different vessels. Blending options are used for two main reasons. One thing is to have, for example, our consistent style. For example, for champagne, this is something that is very important, because consumers of champagne, they are used to traditional style of certain wines, and they expect it every single year. So this blending allows for the consistent style of wine in each bottle. On another in another case, blending can be used to create a particular style of wine that the winemaker wants to do, and also it can be used to create complexity in a wine. On the end, before the wine is bottled, consumer basically, they don't want a wine that is not clear. So in order to make a clear wine, here on the picture you can see it's really nice how the wine looks before clarification. Clarification is a process that clears the wine from deposits and makes it clear, and the winemaker has several options to do this. One way is to use a filter. So it's a physical filter that the wine goes through and removes any impurities from the wine, and the wine will be crystal clear. But many winemakers believe that this process actually strips out also the flavor in the wine, so you can use other ways, gentler ways to make the wine clear, like sedimentation. So basically you allow for all these impurities to fall on the bottom, and then you can use some clarifying agents that will basically bind all this, and then you can just transfer the clear wine to a different vessel. When the wine is bottled, wine starts aging in the bottle, and you know how people say that wine gets better with age, but this is not always the case. Basically, wines need to have certain qualities that will allow them to age and to get better with age. Qualities that will help the wine to age and get better are wines with higher acidity, wines with higher tannin, wines with residual sugar. But next to all these qualities, first of all, wine needs to have a strong flavor in order for that flavor to change in something more complex. Wines, when they age, they have this primary fruit flavors. If they're aged in oak, they will get their secondary flavors, and then with age, what happens with red wine? Red wines get paler in color. From a ruby, they go to garnet and brown, so they get paler with color, and they develop this tertiary flavors of dried fruit like figs, leather, barnyard. White wine, they gain color, so they start with lemon, they go to gold, they go to amber, so they gain more color. And also these primary fruit flavors, they get these tertiary flavors of dried fruit, of nuts and honey, for example. Now we have all this knowledge, let's test it. Question number 1, adding sugar to wine is called least contact, MLF, chaptalization, acidification. The correct answer is C, chaptalization. What is the temperature range ideal for red wine fermentation? 20 to 30, 12 to 22, 5 to 12, 35 to 45. The correct answer is 20 to 30 Celsius. Lower fermentation temperatures help production of fruity aromas. True or false? True. Which one is example of a inert vessel? Barrique, large oak barrel, stainless steel tank, oak chips. The correct answer is C, stainless steel tank. Oak aging contributes, adds sweet spice aromas, helps tannins to soften, helps aromas to develop complex aromas. Helps wine to develop complex aromas. All the above. The correct answer is D, all the above. Oak alternatives are used for premium wine production. True or false? This is false. Lower acid and buttery aromas are produced by which process? Least contact, carbonic maceration, malolactic conversion, or MLF, secondary fermentation. The correct answer is C, malolactic conversion. Fuller texture and bread aromas are created by which process? Secondary fermentation, clarification, sedimentation, lees aging. The correct answer is D, lees aging. What are options for blending wine? Vintages, vineyards, grapes, all the above. The correct answer is D, all the above. What happens to red wine with bottle maturation? Loses color, lowers tannins, develops dried fruit aromas. D, all the above. The correct answer is D, all the above. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it was informative, easy to understand, and fun. Please let us know what you think and if you have any questions. On this channel, we want to simplify the world of wine, so please consider subscribing if you want to help us in this mission, and I'll see you in the next video.